The silent split. There is something happening inside you, and you didn't notice when it began. Not because it was invisible, but because it was quiet. So quiet that it blended into your normal life. At first it was just a feeling, a subtle delay between what you felt and what you expressed. A moment where you smiled, but something inside you didn't move. A conversation where you spoke, but it didn't feel like your voice. A day where everything looked normal, but something felt slightly off. And you ignored it, because everyone else seemed fine, because life kept moving, because there was no clear problem. But this is exactly how it starts. Carl Jung believed that the human mind is not a single, unified structure. It is not stable, it is not fixed, it is divided, layered, fragmented. A system made of different parts, constantly competing for control. And when those parts stop communicating, something breaks. Jung called this the fragmentation of the psyche. And once it begins, it spreads, slowly, silently, without resistance. You begin to act automatically. You wake up, but you're not fully present. You scroll, and without remembering what you saw, you react, without understanding why. Your life becomes a sequence of actions, with no awareness behind them. And deep inside, something is watching, not judging, not speaking, just watching, like a version of you that has been pushed into the background, the real you, the one that used to feel deeply. Think clearly. Question everything. That version didn't disappear. It was replaced, buried under routines, covered by expectations, silenced by repetition. And now, there are two of you, the one living your life and the one observing it. This is the split. And Jung believed that if this division continues long enough, you stop being a person and start becoming a system, predictable, reactive, controlled. The most terrifying part is not that this is happening, it's that it feels normal. Because it doesn't come with pain. It comes with numbness, and numbness is much harder to detect. The mask you forgot. You were wearing, you were not born like this, you were shaped, conditioned, adjusted. From your earliest memories, you were taught something very specific, how to be accepted, what to say, what to hide, what to suppress, what to become. And without realizing it, you built a version of yourself for the world. Jung called this the persona, the social mask, the identity you construct to function, to belong, to survive. At first, it was useful. It helped you avoid rejection. It helped you fit in. It helped you navigate social expectations. But over time, something changed. The mask stopped being temporary and started becoming permanent. You didn't take it off anymore because you forgot it was there. You started adjusting your thoughts to match it, editing your reactions, filtering your emotions, replacing authenticity with strategy. And slowly, you became a performance, not in an obvious way, not like acting, but in something more subtle, more dangerous. You stopped asking yourself what you truly feel and started asking what you should feel. You stopped saying what you think and started saying what fits. You stopped being real and started being acceptable. And the longer you do this, the harder it becomes to go back, because the mask evolves. It becomes more refined, more convincing, more stable, until one day, there is no clear difference between you and it. That's when the real danger begins. Because now you're living a life built on adaptation, not truth. And Jung warned about this. He believed that when a person becomes fully identified with their persona, they lose access to their inner world, their instincts, their depth, their individuality. They become what society expects, and nothing more. And here's the part no one talks about. Most people never realize this happened to them, because from the outside, everything looks fine. They have a personality, a routine, a life. But internally there is emptiness, a subtle disconnection, a feeling that something is missing, but they can't identify what, because the thing that's missing is themselves. There's shadow growing inside you. There is a part of you you actively avoid, not because it's weak, but because it's too real. Your anger, your envy, your fear, your impulses, your forbidden thoughts. Everything you learned to hide, everything you were told is wrong, everything you pushed away didn't disappear, it became your shadow. Jung described the shadow as the unconscious part of the psyche, where everything rejected is stored. But here's what makes it dangerous. It doesn't stay there, it grows. Every time you suppress something else, you feed it. Every time you deny an emotion, you strengthen it. Every time you pretend something doesn't exist, you push it deeper into the dark. And in the dark, it transforms. It becomes distorted, amplified, uncontrolled, until one day it starts leaking, not in obvious ways, but in subtle behaviors. You overreact to small things. You feel anger that seems disproportionate. You sabotage opportunities. You feel drawn to things you don't understand. You project your darkness onto others. You judge people for things you secretly carry. That's the shadow and expressing itself. And the most dangerous part? You don't recognize it, because it doesn't feel external. It feels like you. Jung believed that the greatest threat is not the existence of the shadow, but the refusal to acknowledge it, because what remains unconscious controls your actions, silently, relentlessly, without permission. And the longer you ignore it, the stronger it becomes. Until it reaches a point where it doesn't need permission anymore. It takes over, not completely, but enough to distort your life, your relationships, your decisions, your identity. And by the time you notice, it's already deeply rooted, waiting, growing, watching. You are being programmed. You believe your thoughts are yours, but what if they're not? Look at your daily life. What you watch, what you consume, what you repeat, what you believe. It all comes from somewhere, and most of it was given to you. Jung feared something very specific, a world where individuals lose their ability to think independently, where the inner voice is replaced by external influence, where people stop questioning and start repeating. And that world is already here. You wake up and reach for your phone. You consume information immediately. Videos, opinions, trends, narratives, all carefully designed, all optimized, all engineered to capture your attention. And slowly, they begin to shape you, not forcefully, not aggressively, but subtly. Repeated exposure creates familiarity. Familiarity creates acceptance. Acceptance becomes belief, and belief becomes identity. Without you realizing it, your thoughts start changing, your opinions shift. Your reactions become predictable. You stop asking why, and start accepting what is. This is not random, this is conditioning, psychological, continuous, invisible. And the more you consume, the deeper it goes. You begin to think thoughts that were planted. You feel emotions that were triggered. You desire things that were suggested. And all of it feels natural, because it aligns with what everyone else is doing. That's the trap. Not control through restriction, but control through normalization. Jung feared mass consciousness, a state where individuality dissolves, where people lose their connection to themselves and merge into collective patterns. And once that happens, freedom becomes an illusion, because you are no longer choosing, you are reacting. The death of the self. There is a point where the damage becomes irreversible, not instantly, not dramatically, but gradually, layer by layer. You lose awareness, you lose depth, you lose connection, until eventually you lose yourself. Jung called this the death of the self, not physical death, but psychological disappearance, a state where your true identity is no longer accessible, because it has been replaced by the persona, by the shadow, by external programming, by unconscious patterns. At this stage, you are still alive, you still function, you still interact. But internally, there is nothing stable, no center, no core, no clarity, just reactions, habits, noise. You no longer choose your path, you follow it. You no longer question your life, you accept it. You no longer feel deeply, you simulate it. And the most dangerous part? You don't feel lost, because you don't remember what it feels like to be found. This is what Jung feared the most. Not chaos, not darkness, but emptiness, a world full of people who are no longer connected to themselves, living automatically, thinking collectively, existing without truly being. The only way back. But here's the truth no one tells you. This process can be reversed, not easily, not quickly, but it can. Jung believed in something called individuation, the process of becoming whole again, of reconnecting with your true self, of integrating all parts of your psyche, the persona, the shadow, the unconscious, the awareness. But to begin this process, you have to do something most people avoid. You have to face yourself, fully, honestly, without filters, without excuses. You have to question your thoughts, observe your reactions, identify what is truly yours and what was given to you. You have to acknowledge your shadow, not reject it, not fear it, but understand it, because only what is seen can be controlled. Only what is accepted can be transformed. And slowly, very slowly, you begin to reconnect. You feel more present, more aware, more real. You start making choices again, not reacting, choosing. You begin to think for yourself, feel for yourself, exist as yourself. And that is the path back. Not perfection, not control, but awareness. Because the moment you become aware, the system starts to break, and the real you begins to return.